Our last morning in Georgia didn't exactly go according to plan. After several days of exploring Milledgeville, both Dusty and I were running on sore feet, tired legs, and just enough caffeine to convince ourselves we were ready for another adventure. We'd planned to stop at Fort Hawkins and Madison Blue Springs on the drive home. Instead, we made one historical stop and about a dozen bathroom stops. Sometimes that's just how road trips go. Our one stop before pointing the truck south was the Jefferson Davis Memorial Historic Site near Irwinville, Georgia. It was small, easy to explore, and honestly exactly what we needed after several days of nonstop walking. What I didn't expect was how much this place would challenge my assumptions. When most people hear Jefferson Davis Memorial, they probably picture another Confederate monument that's become part of today's debates over history and memory. And at first glance, I did too. There's a monument, a museum, and a bronze bust of the Confederate president. But then you learn why this site exists. It isn't here because Jefferson Davis was president of the Confederacy. It's here because this is where he stopped being president. After General Robert E. Lee surrendered in April of 1865, Jefferson Davis fled south, hoping the Confederacy could somehow continue the fight. His government slowly dissolved as Union forces closed in from every direction. Then, on the morning of May 10, 1865, Union cavalry surrounded his campsite right here near Irwinville. Jefferson Davis was captured. With that capture, the last functioning leadership of the Confederate government disappeared. The Civil War was effectively over. That's what makes this place so different. Many Confederate monuments were built decades later to celebrate the lost cause narrative to honor Confederate leaders. This site marks something entirely different. It marks the Confederacy's final defeat. Even the large granite monument reflects that story. Instead of portraying Davis as some triumphant leader, the relief carving shows him being escorted by Union soldiers after his capture. It's less a monument to victory and more a monument to the moment everything ended. That doesn't mean every exhibit inside is free from controversy. Like many Civil War museums built during the early 20th century, some interpretations reflect the thinking of their time. History is rarely presented through a perfectly neutral lens. That's one reason I think places like this are worth visiting yourself. Not so someone can tell you what to think, but so you can examine the evidence, ask questions, and come to your own conclusions. One of my favorite parts of the stop actually wasn't the history at all. We ended up chatting with the gentleman working at the site for quite a while. That's something we don't do very often. But he was genuinely friendly and clearly cared about preserving the site's history. Of course, we also spent a little more money than we planned. But we left with a couple of collectible pins, so I'd call that a fair trade. By then we knew we were done. Fort Hawkins would have to wait. Madison Blue Springs would still be there another day. Sometimes the smartest travel decision isn't squeezing in one more stop. Sometimes it's recognizing you've already had an incredible trip and it's time to head home. Looking back, this wasn't the ending I expected for our Milledgeville adventure, but maybe it was the right one. Not every historic site gives easy answers. Some simply remind us that history is complicated, that context matters, and that the places where great chapters end can be just as important as the places where they began. And this quiet little park in South Georgia marks one of the final pages of the American Civil War. If you enjoy exploring the stories behind places like this, I'd love to have you along for the journey. Subscribe and let me know in the comments. Do you think preserving places like this helps us better understand history? Or do you see them differently? As for us, this marked the final stop of our Milledgeville adventure. We didn't see everything we'd planned. Fort Hawkins would have to wait, and Madison Blue Springs would still be there next time. But that's one of the things I love about travel. Sometimes the places you miss become the reason you come back. And after everything we discovered in Milledgeville, I already know we will.